Hello there.
Welcome back, my friend.
Hello, what have we here?
Jedi, we've been expecting you.
Knew I could count on you.
Hello.
Welcome to the rebellion.
What fun!
Hey everyone, Hybrid here with one of the most exciting figures of the first half of 2026. People were freaking out when this guy got revealed. Today I have Lord Starkiller from the Black Series Gaming Great subline, a character that is beloved by many of my era of Star Wars. Right before the Clone Wars kicked off, we got the legendary Force Unleashed video game way back in 2007. And it had a choose-your-own ending to it. If you chose the light side, you died. And if you chose the dark side, you were able to do a DLC mission where you were playing basically this guy gone through a Vader transformation of his own in a leather suit with armor pieces, you know, and you are OP and way too overpowered to ever fit into canon. Not that Starkiller was ever powered enough to be appropriate for canon, but I digress. This is just a really, really cool figure. This is one that you would certainly pick up for Rule of Cool, even if you were a Legends fan. This was not canon even to the Legends storyline. This was a what if in Legends, which is already a what if at this point. So, it's a really interesting type of figure. But as I said, you're getting this for Rule of Cool because it was just a super fun and cool thing to be able to do that type of thing in that game at that time. So that said, let's dive into the packaging and then take an in-depth look at this awesome figure. Here we have our figure still in the box. This is a Black Series Deluxe packaging, so it's a little bit wider than your average box, otherwise very similar. You have this ginormous window showing him and his 6 lightsabers off very well. Some alternate hands in there, that's cool. Your Gaming Greats sticker, very nice. Black Series logo. He is the 30th Gaming Greats figure since they've rebranded the packaging from the old red and black box days. Lord Starkiller, the Force Unleashed, Warning 4+ Hasbro. This side of the box features some really cool art of Lord Starkiller. This side features your Gaming Greats logo, wraparound window, wraparound blue stripe, and a Black Series logo. Around back features a zoom in of that side art, your Force Unleashed logo at the bottom of it, a bio about the character in 5 different languages, and you can pause and read whichever language best applies to you. Once more, number 30 in the line, much of legal stuff, Disney and Hasbro logos, barcode, more legal stuff, and a hanger tab up top. Very standard action figure packaging stuff. So that said, let's go ahead, get this guy out of the box, and take an in-depth look at everything we're getting here. Here's Lord Starkiller out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and dig into this pile of accessories. I gotta say, they almost went a little too crazy on some of the accessories. So he comes with some swappable hands, and I will just give you a good look before we start swapping. The hands that he comes wearing are these like open-handed, like force, push gesturing hands. They're almost Force Lightning hands, but they don't give them the lightning effects. I kind of prefer that. I generally think that, like, blast and lightning effects, they look tacky. If they aren't moving, like, what's the point? But you can pop them off. They are ball-jointed wrists. He comes with these swappable hands for either side. And again, they still have all those bladed fingers on them. They look really good. But the swappable hands are, at this point, a lightsaber holding hand. And they look really, really nice. You get another kind of like relaxed lightsaber holding hand for the left side that can hold a saber still, but a little bit more of a forward angle on that one, which is very cool. And then he comes with a pile of lightsabers. Now, I'm going to be honest. In the game, he only ever uses one. The other 5 are trophies on his belt. So, like, I'd have been okay if they'd only ultimately given us one blade that fit all 6 of these hilts. Or, for those that would like to pose him dual-wielding, give us 2 blades. I'm not going to have him with 6 lit lightsabers hanging on his belt, so the majority of those blades are going into the parts bin forever. But I will not criticize Hasbro for going above and beyond and giving us something genuinely extra. That does not happen very often. So, let's run through these lightsabers. So this one right here, with these 3 long claws up at the emitter area, this is the Lord Starkiller lightsaber. This becomes his primary in-game saber after you beat the game and move on to the DLC. It's very, very cool. It features a lot of like black wrapping to the hilt. There's a D-ring at the bottom. The claws up top are very protruding. Now, this is not painted. This is a silver-colored plastic, but I will say a lot of the unpainted lightsabers before were using like a gray plastic. This actually has a little bit of a more metallic shine to it. I'd be okay if we got unpainted sabers in this color silver going forward. So hopefully Hasbro keeps that in mind. Like so many others, the blade is removable like so. Working our way around. This is the lightsaber of Ram Koda. Canonically in the game, you take it from him after you defeat him in the first mission you go on. And then the true... At the time, it's Legends now, but the canonical storyline is when Vader throws you out the window of the Star Destroyer at the midpoint of the game, you lose Starkiller's lightsaber and he gives you this one to use, and you put a blue crystal in it eventually. So now it's got a red one, and this is just another trophy. But again, silver-colored plastic, looks really nice, brown leather on the grip, and then there's like a little like fabric tie-off, you know, near the upper emitter area. It's a simple hilt, but it's very nice. The blade unpegs like so. This blade features a little bit of like a taper at the top of the peg because it does have one of those tapered emitters. I don't believe there's any special order to these, but I'm going to start putting these on his belt. As you see, they kind of like, these clips on his belt are nice. They kind of like are very deep, and then they kind of like have like a detent in them, so you hang it and you go all the way down and it kind of clicks into place. That's cool. This lightsaber here should be very recognizable as Darth Vader's. Of course, if you choose the dark side ending, you do defeat and kill Darth Vader, so his lightsaber becomes a trophy. This is specifically the Revenge of the Sith model, because it has the CoverTech ring down there. Silver plastic hilt, again, with the black paint, looks nice, and has the D-ring at the bottom. Another one of those tapered blades. The blades are not all the same, which is kind of cool. Let's put that one here on the front. Why not? This lightsaber right here is recognizable as half of Darth Maul's. It's in that silver plastic. It's not painted. The red buttons are painted. That's it. It has a D-ring at the bottom and a red blade that just has a normal base. And this one, I believe to be truly more of an Easter egg than anything, because of course you do not fight Darth Maul in the game. Proxy has a program to be Darth Maul, but of course that is more just a reference than anything. But you can wear Maul's hilt on the back like so. Let's just keep running through these. This lightsaber here is Starkiller's first lightsaber. As mentioned, it got lost in the middle of the game when he got thrown out the window. So it, it's more just an Easter egg at that point. Anyway, it features a non-tapered, it's got a little notch in there on the blade. And this saber is actually different from the one from the prior Starkiller because that lightsaber had a peg, not a D-ring. So we will hang that back here like so. And then the final lightsaber is a chunk of Kazdan Paratus' lightsaber pike. You beat him on one of the earlier missions of the game on Raxus Prime. Again, it was originally like a blue blade, if memory serves. It's been bled to red for this figure. All black plastic. It's just the end of like a lightsaber staff, so there's not really a lot going on. And then a D-ring has been added, and it goes on like so. Come on. It's a very small D-ring and a very floppy post, but there we go. We got it on. And now he looks rather cool with all these trophies going around his belt like so. And I like to leave the one in the front open for his actual, like his own lightsaber. So now, taking a look at this figure. It's a pretty good figure. There's one thing I really do not like on it, but we will run from top to bottom and we will get there when we get there. Taking a look at this guy up close. The helmet and shoulder pads look very nice. I don't believe they're painted. I believe they're colored plastic, but there is so much sculpted in texture with scratches and dings and dents in it where it, it really hides it. And then, of course, like the darker gray portions of the helmet have to be painted. I love that T-visor and the breathing apparatus in there. It looks super, super cool. Spinning him around back, you see he does have a little bit of a control box going on the back. He also has some kind of, I don't know if it's a Padawan braid or if it's like a Wookiee braid trophy, but of course it's going up under the helmet as if it was to his hair, so I guess. Looks really, really cool. The shoulder pads you can kind of see there, they are on the ring around the shoulder peg system, so they will never get in the way of articulation. He has some insane spinal apparatusing going on in there. That looks uncomfortable. The bodysuit should be reminiscent to Vader's, being kind of leathery and ribbed, but then it has this kind of like leather front to it. The gloves are reminiscent to prequel Anakin as well, with the banding on it, but his right arm has that tubing, and it does not go from like the upper arm to the bottom. It stops right on the mold of the lower arm. That way it will not be pulled tight at all, although there is a glove rotation there. So, you are a little bit limited there on how far you can rotate that. Shouldn't really matter with the ball jointed wrists. But working our way down, you have that belt with all these peg hooks on it, and sabers, and some controls on the front. The Vader-looking legs with the leather pants going on with the boots look very nice. And we get into the thing I do not like. I don't generally like wired goods in the first place. I either do them in plastic or do them soft. I think generally they are fiddly. Hasbro's wired soft goods, it's like they have to baby-proof them. It's like the wires have to be like plastic wrapped underneath of there. And they have like these big blocky corners on them. And there's like a giant chunk in this corner down here. I just don't like Hasbro wired soft goods, or any wired soft goods really, but Hasbro's especially. These are very fiddly. It took me a minute to really get them to lay somewhat neutrally. And their big thing is like when you're posing them doing lightsaber stuff, you can like pose them, blowing around. I don't know. It just doesn't look good. I don't like how this looks. I would rather it just be laying neutral. Like, if it's the real soft goods, I can like kind of like prop them around behind, and fake it till you make it. But I hate this, truthfully. I think these wired soft goods truly ruin it. It has one of those tags like the wired Cape Vader did from the Bespin set. Very easily torn out, hopefully. The Vader one was easy to tear out. That one's actually stitched on like crazy. You're probably going to need to get like scissors for that one, which is not a plus. I'd rather that be easily removable. But yeah, these wired soft goods are not a sell for me. They're honestly a pretty big detractor. I think as soon as I'm done recording, I'm going to try and like make like a little cut at the end and try and like pull the wires out. So hopefully that surgery goes well, and then the soft goods are still salvageable. But just gives you this big fat stitching around the edge too. The back one features a wire on each side and then across the bottom. The side ones feature a wire down one side, like this is limp right here, but then this side over here is where the wire is, and then there's a wire across the bottom as well. So yeah, I mean, like generally it sucks because like this is actually a very impressive action figure. The figure is great, just the soft goods suck, and I really wish it was a different case than that, because like again, I would really like to like really love this thing, and I like it, but it's like it went from being a 10 to being like a 7 just because of how crappy these soft goods are, maybe even lower. I don't know. Again, like for those of you that have been around for a while, I don't like being a negative person. I like being generally positive, because when it comes to toy collecting, there's no wrong way to do it unless you're not having fun. And man, I don't really like how these look or operate or feel. So, discontent on the soft goods aside, let's run through this articulation. I'm sure it's going to be a masterpiece with all of that modern articulation they used. He features one of those ball at the bottom of the neck and then double barbell at the top of the neck, allowing him with that helmet to look that far up, which for a helmeted guy is pretty good. He can bury his chin, rotate his head, get all that pivot in there you could ever want. His arms come up to a T-pose. There is a pretty good butterfly joint in there, 360 at the shoulders. As mentioned, those shoulder pads can rotate all the way around with the arm. They'll never be in the way of anything. Single jointed elbows go past 90, swivel at the elbow, rotation at the glove gauntlet, and then ball jointed wrists give you range all over the place. He has that mid-torso ball joint, allows him to crunch that far forward, that far back, get some side to side and twist in there. Of course, the legs can kick a pretty wide split. They can go straight forward, a little bit back. There's no thigh rotation. You don't need it though, because he has those single jointed knees. They go way past 90 and then swivel at the knee, so you do have a rotation in the legs still. There is a boot rotation, and then the feet. There we go. Get that skirt out of the way. The feet can go straight down, really far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get him into some decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. So yeah, you know, despite the soft goods just being horrible, or the wired goods, the rest of the figure is generally really nice. Here he is with some of our other Force Awakens offerings. We've mostly just gotten a couple troopers from the game. It's about time, Hasbro. Let's start getting some characters from the video games, please. Like, come on, where's Rom Coda? Where's Battle Damaged Vader? Truthfully, I think I'd be okay with those two if like we were only going to get a couple. But Juno Eclipse and Proxy, like that'd be like then my reach at that point. Like, come on, Hasbro, like. I get it, Stormtroopers are the world's easiest repaint, but, like, throw us a bone. And I accept that this is definitely a bone. But, like, throw us another bone. I don't know, with a little work, you can get the skirt pieces posed up, but I just don't like it. Personally, I'm not a wired cape guy. I've yet to find a wired soft goods anything that I like, whether it be a Moth-X or a Figuarts or Black Series. Black Series has definitely been the weakest offerings. I know they're new to the game of wired soft goods, but if I could make a recommendation to the Hasbro team, get out of the game. Just stick with what you've been doing well so far, because this ain't it, personally. But what do I think of the figure otherwise? You know, other than frustrating wired soft goods, I think that the base figure itself is excellent. I don't really like what you have to go through to get them in a good pose with the wired soft goods. I would rather them just be soft goods and just ditch the wire. You know, do I think that this set was worth it? You know, it was $45 or $42.99, whatever. I got it a little earlier from Canada and after the international shipping. I only spent $50, which was great. But I think that it was generally worth it with all those lightsaber accessories. But I also wouldn't mind just not doing the wired soft goods, knocking $10 off of the thing entirely. You know, I'd have been fine with that, truthfully. But yeah, all in all, I mean, I recommend it. I think that no matter what I say, those that are interested in this type of character want it no matter what. So, you know, what was I going to do? Change your mind? But anyway, I am going to go work on something else. I'm going to try and maybe extract these wires and see if that saves the figure. I will post to Instagram if it does, so go check me out over there. Check out some of my other videos. I've been pretty good on my daily uploads this year. That was my resolution, and so far I've held good to that, so give me a pat on the back, someone, please. Anyways, I'm going to go get to work. May the Force be with you. Thank you for hanging out with me for my review, and I will catch you next time. Bye.